Hello. So in the previous video, we created a PO template that is printable and exportable to PDF. So we also created an items database, a supplier database, and a PO database. So a PO database will be having the information each time we create a PO and add a few line items, and we together with the supplier and the date. After we save that information will be copied into a table so that we can reference for any the information in future if we want to go back to a certain date and check what PO did we raise on date 1, date 2, like so. So that information will be stored here. So I've gone ahead and copied over some dummy data. I have only 3 suppliers. I also have a few items. So I only have 5 items. So the item ID basically is supposed to have only unique IDs. So these are the unique identifiers. So they could be in any format. I just use a simple 1, 2, 3. The same with the supplier. So in the PO template now, we are going to automate the data entry. Now, why do we need to automate this? Because each time we want to create a new PO, we need to know our supplier name, of course, and we need to type it here. So supplier name, supplier XYZ. Okay. Then we also need to remember the address, which is, so if we already registered them, we need to go back and forth, check, okay, copy this, then come here and paste it here, and then come to address, copy the address, like so, and paste it here. But if we only have like 3 suppliers right now, so if we have a number of suppliers, very many, we can't remember all of them. So we need a way where we only need to know the supplier name, which is much easier to remember, just the supplier name. And then the rest of the information, once we now type in the name or select the name, the rest of the information comes automatically. So in order to do that, first of all, we need not type the supplier name. We need to choose from the list of our suppliers. So in order to do that, we need to restrict a few things. We need to restrict manual typing of supplier name so that we only type names that match the names in our database. So in order to restrict that, we need to use something called data validation. So if we validate this cell with our supplier names, then we can only choose from the list of our suppliers. We need first to create some named ranges. Okay, that's the first thing we're going to do, is create some named ranges. And named ranges are what we're going to use to validate this cell, supplier name, and validate these cells of item ID, item description, sorry. So the same application here will be the same application here. We only need to be choosing an item, and then the item ID, the unit of measure, and the unit cost come automatically. So let's create a few named ranges so that we can automate this process. And the first named range we are going to create is our supplier names. Highlight the entire column of your supplier names, excluding the column head, and make sure you've not filtered the table. So after you've highlighted all the values in your column name, supplier name, go ahead and click on define name. So here we're going to give it a name, and then we're going to give it a name called supplier names. That's the name of our named range, and just we can comment and say has the lists of our suppliers, and then click OK. So that is how we've created. So if we go to our name manager, we have, and then filter define names, we have a supplier name. Now that we know how to create another one, we can create a new one, and then we're going to call it item list. We can call it item list, and then remember again, we first write a formula of items. We reference the table, so we have a table called items ID. Then in square brackets, we have a column called item description, like so, and then click OK. we also need to have a named range for our PO number. So we are going to come here and say define name after we selected that cell, and we are going to leave it like so, PO number, and then it refers to the PODB PO number. Okay, so now we have 3 named ranges. Let's see how we can use those named ranges to automate data entry in this worksheet.